Our solar system is one of the over 500 million solar systems in the entire Milky Way galaxy. The location of our solar system is in Orion star cluster. There are 8 planets rotating to the Sun, and one of those planets is Earth. Earth is known to be the only planet which is capable to sustain life because of its environment. All of this life comprises in what we call biodiversity. Biodiversity refers to every living things here on Earth, such as humans, animals, plants, or even nano world. Nano is the measurement of extremely small things. Example of this is the DNA of bacteria. As life continues, natural resources are gradually disappear. One of these natural resources is our energy. Energy is the natural resources that use to power industrial society. Through the overuse of our natural resources, we tend to cause climate change. Climate change is the change in global or regional patterns of weather because of the human expansion of greenhouse effect. Through this change, all of us is responsible. In order to repair the earth, we must promote environmental awareness. Environmental awareness is the understanding of fragility of our environment and the importance of its protection. Hello everyone! In this educational video, we will learn about biodiversity and healthy society, the nanoworld, energy crisis and alternative energy resources, climate change, and environmental awareness. So, keep on watching!
Love the nature. There are billions people in the world. White people, black people, brown people, and indigenous people. We should protect the nature of the world as how we protect ourselves. Because of that, let us talk about what is biodiversity.
Hello everybody, today I'll be explain what is biodiversity. First, let me define the term biodiversity. The term biodiversity, or from the word biological diversity, is the sum of all life on earth. That means that all different species of our plants and animals in the place they live is what we call biodiversity. But remember, biodiversity includes not only species but every living things, from human to organisms. That means that we humans are belong to biodiversity. Animals are belong to biodiversity. That is why it has been mentioned a while ago that biodiversity is the sum of all life on earth. What's more is that biodiversity gives us all our needs in our life, like foods, clear drinking water, fresh air, medicines, and provide us our homes. That is why biodiversity is important to most aspects of our life. We must value biodiversity for what it provides to humans. And biodiversity is like a safety net. We take into considerations the huge variety of animals and plants in our planet Earth as a threads in the net. It is like a safety net because it protects us and it gives us all our needs in our life. Just for example is the forest. The forest that can stop the floods. The forest that can protect us from the harm of the floods. Unfortunately, People have been disregarding the safety and health of the snake. The forests were flattened to give way for farming. We have netted the young fishes until their number have collapsed. The wetlands were bulldozed, causing floods and great havocs, which is, it has a negative impact to us as a human. And because of that, let us discuss on what is the impact of biodiversity on human life. We have already discussed what is biodiversity. And now, let us proceed on what is the impact of biodiversity on human life. The human species is just 1.9 million living life forms in the world. It has arisen same mechanisms as other species. It has same physical appearance, physical requirements as other species. But what make us different to other species is that we have this ability to think. We have this ability to create something that can make our life more easier, more better, and more advantage. And that is when we discover the new technology. The new technology that is being used for today. But due to our ability to use technology, the human population growing unchecked by the natural factors. We have not noticed that the human technology have had a significant impact on the natural world by producing materials that pollute air, water, and the soil. Because of that, it destroyed the natural habitats and the ecological communities. That is why educations and the environmental awareness is very essential. Because if we are all aware of what might happen if we abandon the nature, then it is possible that we can prevent the natural disaster, that we can stop the natural disaster. But because of the ignorance, we human destroyed the gift from the God, which is the nature. That is why biodiversity is very important in our life. And now, let us proceed on the human population growth. The human population growth has been arising at a very rapid rate over the past century. The development of medical technology has reduced the incidence of disease in many parts of the world. The modern agriculture had reduced the incidence of disease in many parts of the world, where in fact, the human population has grown faster than the food supply, and the poverty and hunger had eradicated the world developed nation. And that's all. Thank you.
Technology in industrial processes have led to the production of chemicals and byproducts that are harmful or toxic to living things. Such toxic chemicals have contributed to our global environment pollution. Do you know what pollution means? How does it occur? And what can people do about it? First, let me define the term pollution. Pollution means making the world dirty by adding unpleasant and harmful materials to it. Pollution can be easily divided into three main categories, such as air pollution, water pollution, and soil pollution. Air pollution refers to smokes from industries, vehicles, burning of trash, and power plants that makes the air dirty. And what are the causes behind it? When the people make the air dirty, they pollute it. And remember, polluted air is very harmful for living things. The second one is water pollution. Water pollution is the contamination of water bodies, and the causes behind it are dumping garbage into water makes it dirty, and paints, pesticides, and home cleaning materials also pollute the water if they are not disposed of properly. The third one is soil pollution. Land becomes dirty when the trash is thrown improperly, and the causes behind it are people ruin the beauty of nature by throwing chunks and plastics into the land, and improper disposal of trash containing dangerous chemical substances also makes the soil dirty or polluted. And the question is, what can people do about pollution? Or what can people do to reduce pollution? We have 3 R's to reduce pollution. The first one is reduce. Reduce means to cut back the amount of trash we generate. In terms of air pollution, we can reduce the amount of smokes by not producing it. The second R is reuse. Reuse means to find new ways to use things that otherwise have been thrown. And the last one is recycle. Recycle means to turn old and useless into new and useful material. And now, let's proceed to habitat destruction. Humans have used their technologies to remove trees and other plant life from wide areas of their natural habitat, and this causes destruction of habitat. A habitat is a natural home for any living being. When a plant or animal's habitat is destroyed, it loses its natural home. This makes it harder for them to survive, increasing chances for the plant or animal to die out. Habitat destruction has an overall effect in the environment world round, not only with animal extinction, but it also affects our climate, our population, and production in many areas. And that's all.
Let us proceed to the exploitation of animals and plants. Today, we will know the effects of exploitation to our environmental. So first, what exploitation means? It means being and abusing. Like for example, over-harvesting plants, use of chemical in harvesting aquatic animals, use of dynamite in catching fishes, and over-deforesting or removal trees from forests without replanting, so that it can cause climate change, soil erosion, flooding, and increase greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Another thing is that humans have removed plants on ecosystem for their economic value without regard the effects of its removal on the natural ecosystem, so that it can cause by decreasing biodiversity on habitats. So, do you know what would be possible negative of that in this environmental? So, it can cause many rare and exotic species are being sent into extinction. Otherwise, we are losing more and more our culture as we kill of our animals and plants. So as a human, how can we stop exploitation or how can we avoid it? So we need to cut back on animals and plant testing. This would save several great ideals of species
from extinction.
Another way is stop free game hunting, because this is a large factor in animal exploitation. Again, exploitation means being and abusing. So let us proceed to my second topic, which is the sign of environmental contamination. So first, I'll define what contaminants means. So the term contaminants refers to any physical, chemical, biological substance or any matter that has effects on air, water, soil, or even on living organisms. Like for example, heavy metals. So the heavy metals are toxic to the soils, to the plants, and to the human health. So how does contaminants affect to our environmental? So it can cause landscape, poison salts, and it can kill plants and animals. And also the human are harmed by pollution. So as a human, how can environmental contamination be reduced? So first, we need to be responsible to ourselves. Exactly. Second, avoid burning leaves, trash, and other material that has effect on our environment. Again, the term contaminants refers to any physical, chemical, biological substance, or any matter that has effect on our environment. That's all. Thank you.
Hello everyone! Today I'm going to discuss the consumption of energy and fossil fuels. The first that I'm going to discuss is the consumption of energy. But before that, I will define first what is energy. Energy is ability to do work. It is essential to life and all living organisms. There are many types of energy. Some of them are potential energy, nuclear energy, kinetic energy, electrical energy, and chemical energy. The energy has two major categories. There are non-renewable energy source and renewable energy source. The example of non-renewable energy source is coal, oil, and natural gas. And the example of renewable energy source is wind energy, water energy, and solar energy. Let us proceed to the consumption of energy. The consumption of energy refers to all the energy used to perform an action, manufacture something, or simply inhabit a building. For example, in a factory, by making a car parts. This will include water, electricity, gas, and any energy source that needed. Another example, in a household, energy consumption will include the electricity, gas, water, and any other energy used to live in it. And the another example is the energy consumption of a bus. It includes how much gasoline it uses to run. Energy is the one of the vital ingredients of life, as its usage is very expensive. But this usage is negatively impacting the environment through acid rain, ocean acidification, and soil contamination. And that is energy. Let us proceed to my second topic, which is fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are a non-renewable source of energy. It is a term used to describe a group of energy sources that were formed in ancient plant and organisms were subject to intense heat and pressure over millions of years. Fossil fuels are found in underground, trapped, and deposits surrounded by the layer of rocks. The different forms of fossil fuels form depending on the combination of organic matter, temperature, time, and pressure condition while decomposing. There are three major forms of fossil fuels. There are coal, oil, and natural gas. Coal was formed from ferns, plants, and trees, which harden due heat and pressure. Oil was formed from small organisms like zooplankton and algae, were caused the more complex organic matter to decompose. Natural gas, formed by the same process of oil, only was exposed to more pressure and heat, pushing it to further decompose and turn into a gaseous form. There are many uses of fossil fuels. For example, we burn coal and thermal power plant in order to generate electricity. And another example is oil produce 90% energy to vehicle for transportation, and natural gas is used for both domestic and commercial uses. And there are many advantages of fossil fuels, like it is found very easily, large source of energy, safe source of energy, cost effective. And there are some disadvantages of fossil fuels, like fossil fuels is finite source of energy, produce air pollution, contribute to the public health issues, disturb natural beauty and natural habitat, and produce small amount of energy per unit volume. And that's fossil fuels.
Nano World. Nano World. Nano World. Nano World. Hello everyone! Today we are talking about the Nano World. In this segment, we are going to talk a lot about science, physics, chemistry, nanotechnology, and a lot more, and why it is so exciting for us. But first of all, nano is derived from Greek word nanos, which means dwarf, meaning to say extremely small. Okay, what is word nano mean? Nano means something is very, very small and cannot be seen with the unaided human eye. On the other hand, Nano World is the global market leader for tips for scanning probe microscopy and atomic force microscopy. The atomic force microscope is the defining instrument for the whole field of nanoscience and nanotechnology. Okay, let us proceed to nanoscience and nanotechnology. Okay, what is nanoscience and nanotechnology? Nanotechnology are the study and application of extremely small things and can be used across all the other science fields such as chemistry, biology, physics, material science, and engineering. So basically, some fields of science ay may sariling field po siya. Science to study like molecules. So more on chemistry din siya sa science. At biology, physics, material science, and more on din siya sa engineering. So another definition of nanotechnology is involve the ability to see and to control individual atoms and molecules. Everything on Earth is made up of atoms, like food na kinakain natin, the clothes we wear, the buildings and houses na tinitirhan natin, and our own bodies. Today's scientists and engineers are finding a wide variety of ways to deliberately make materials at the nanoscale to take advantage of their enhanced properties, such as higher strength, lighter, weight, increased control of light spectrum, and greater chemical reactivity than their larger scale counterparts. By the way, what is nanoscale? Okay, scale is based on the nanometer or 1 billionth of a meter. Exists especially between 1 and 100 nanometer. In the general sense, materials with at least one dimension below 1 micron but greater than 1 nanometer are nanoscale materials.
Kung titignan natin dito ang scaling ng isang bagay, kung familiar kayo sa tennis ball, ganyan siya kalaki, then period, then cancer cell, then bacterium, virus, ayan siya, paliit ng paliit, then yung antibody, ito yung depends sa ating katawan, and then yung glucose, ito yung energy sa ating katawan, then the water drop. Hindi pala water drop. Ito pala yung tinatawag din siyang nanoscale, pero kung meron pang mas maliit pa sa water, ay yun yung nanometer.
From BSEd Math 2. Before I proceed to my report, I'm going to introduce what is nanoweight. So, when we say nanoweight, it is the smallest thing that we cannot see by our eyes. So, the prefix nano denotes the sizes of the order of 1 billion of a meter. The size of 1 nanometer is 1 billion of a meter, which is about 10 times smaller than the human hair. On that hair, there is a bacteria. Near the bacteria, 10 times smaller of virus. Inside that, 10 times smaller 3 strength of its DNA. The DNA radius is about 1 billion of a meter, and that is 1 nanometer. DNA is made up of many atoms, and atoms make up a whole one. So, one of the wildest things about nanoweight is substances there is differently behave than the seen materials does in our world. For example, to us, gold is golden in color, but nano gold can be any color and absorb light and generate heat. And nowadays, scientists can create nanostructure themselves by rearranging the atoms of an object. They also make new nanomaterials with new properties. And properties change also according to their size. Now, let's proceed to my report. The four scientists who have contributed to the growth and study of nano. The first scientist who have contributed to the growth and study of nanotechnology or nanoweight is Richard Feynman. So Feynman was born in New York City on the 11th of May 1918. So Feynman is an American theoretical physicist. His contribution to the growth of nanotechnology is he discovered the plenty of room. So this plenty of room gave nanotechnology a package history that provided an early date of December 1959. So, Feynman's stature as Nobel laureate and as an iconic figure in 20th century, science surely helped advocates of nanotechnology and provided a valuable intellectual link to the past. So the second one is Eric Dexler. So his contribution on the nanosystem is molecular machinery, manufacturing, and computation. He received the Association of American Publishers Award for Best Computer Science Book of 1992. Dexter founded the Forsyth Institute in 1986 with the mission of preparing for nanotechnology. The last two scientists who have contributed to the growth of nanoworld are Gerd Wenig and Heinrich Rohrer. So, nanotechnology and nanoscience got a boost in the early 1980s with two major developments. First is the birth of cluster science, and second is the invention of the scanning tunneling microscope or STM. These two major developments led to the discovery of Selenarius in 1985 and the structural assignment of carbon nanotubes a few years later. So the scanning tunneling microscope is an instrument for imagining surfaces at the atomic level, was developed in 1981 by Gerd Wenig and Heinrich Rohrer at IBM Zurich Research Laboratory, for which they were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1986 rather. Wenig, Calvin Cott, and Christoph Gerber invented the first atomic force microscope in 1986. The first commercially available atomic force microscope was introduced in 1989. So, the IBM researcher Don Egler was the first to manipulate the atoms using the scanning tunneling microscope. So, at what I've said to the instruction, nowadays scientists can create their own nanostructure by themselves. So, Egler used 35 xenon atoms to spell out the IBM logo. He shared the 2010 Kavli Prize in Nanoscience with his work. So, that's all and thank you.
Hi everyone! Today, we are talking about the energy crisis and their causes. So first, we define what is energy crisis. An energy crisis is any significant bottleneck in the supply of energy resources to an economy. The energy crisis is a broad and complex topic. Most people don't feel connected to its reality unless the price of gas at the pump goes up or there are lines at the gas station. In the other hand, energy crisis is something that is ongoing and getting worse despite many efforts. The reason for this is that there is not a broad understanding of the complex causes and solution for the energy crisis. We have 10 causes of the energy crisis. The first one, the overconsumption. The energy crisis is a strain on our natural resources, not just one. There is a strain on fossil fuels such as oil, gas, and coal due to overconsumption, which then in turn can be put a strain on our water and oxygen resources by causing pollution. The second is the overpopulation. Another cause of the crisis has been the increase in the world's population and its demand for fuel and products, no matter what type of foods or products you choose to use. From fair trade and organic to choose made from petroleum products in a sweet shop, not one of them is transported without a significant drain in our energy resources. The third one is poor infrastructure. Aging infrastructure of power generating equipment is yet another reason for energy shortage. Most of the energy producing firms keep on using updated equipment that restricts the production of energy. The fourth one is unexplored renewable energy options. Renewable energy still remains unused in most of the energy comes from non-renewable sources like coal. It still remains the top choice to produce energy unless we give renewable energy a serious thought. The fifth one is delaying commission of power plants. In few countries, there is a significant delay in commissioning of new power plants that can fill the gap, the demand and supply of energy. The result of that, all plants come under huge stress to meet the daily demand for power. When supply doesn't match demand, it results in load shedding and breakdown. The sixth one is wastage of energy. In most parts of the world, people do not realize the importance of conserving energy. It is only limited to books, internet, newspaper, ads, lip service, and seminars. Unless we give it a services thought, things are not going to change. Simple things like switching off fans and lights when not in use, using maximum daylights, walking instead of driving for short distance, using CFL instead of traditional bulbs, proper insulation for decades of energy can go a long way in saving energy. The seventh one is a poor distribution system. Frequent tripping and breakdown are result of a poor distribution system. The eighth one is major accidents and natural calamities. Major accidents like pipeline bursts and natural calamities like eruption of volcanoes, floods, earthquakes can also interruption of energy supplies. The huge gap between supply and demand of energy can raise the price of essential items, which can give rise to inflation. The ninth one is wars and attacks. Wars between countries can also hamper supply of energy, especially if it happens in Middle East. Countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, BIE, or Qatar, this price of oil reached its peak, causing global strategies and created major problem for energy consumers. And the last one is miscellaneous factors. These causes is tax hikes, military coup, political events, severe hot summers, or cold winters can cause suddenly increase in demand of energy and can choke supply. A strike by unions in oil producing firm can definitely cause an energy crisis. And that is the 10 causes of energy crisis. And that could be all. Thank you.
The possible solution of energy crisis is a new technology and strategy to conserve the energy and to avoid energy problem. Hi everyone, let's proceed the possible solution of energy crisis. So we have the 7 possible solution of energy crisis. First is moves towards renewable resources. The best possible solution of energy crisis is to reduce the world dependencies on non-renewable resources. Most of the people use renewable energies such as solar, steam, and wind to avoid crisis of energy. Another example of renewable resources are geothermal energy, hydropower, and bioenergy resources. Second is buy energy efficient product. Energy efficient product is a product that using less energy to provide the same service. For example, the traditional bulb with CLFS and LEDs, this product is use less watts of electricity and long-lasting uses. And the third one is lighting controls. For suggestion, use the new technologies that make lighting controls and much more interesting because they help to save a lot of energy and cost in the long run of electricity. For example, to proceed the lighting controls, slide lighting and touch dimmer. It is helpful to conserve the energy and reduce overall lighting cost. And the next one is easier grid access. Grid access of electricity is an interconnected network for delivering electricity from producer to consumer. But most of the people explore the renewable option to use easier grid access like solar panels to save a lot of energy and money to avoid energy problem. For the number 5 is energy simulation. Energy simulation software tools can be important for reducing the cost of energy in the building. Engineers, architects, and other designers are use software simulation to come with cost-efficiency buildings and reduce carbon footprint to conserve energy and less uses. And the next one is perform energy audit. Energy audit is a process that helps to identify the areas where your home is losing energy and what step you can take to improve your energy efficiency. This method can help you to reduce your carbon footprint, to save energy and money, and to avoid crisis of energy. And the last one is common stand on climate change. The common stand on climate change is focusing to reduce the greenhouse gases emissions through an effective cross-border mechanism, and it can help us to avoid the crisis of energy. For example, carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, and nitrous oxide. I repeat, the 7 possible solutions of energy crisis are moves towards renewable resources, bioenergy efficient product, lighting controls, easy grid access, energy simulation, performed energy audit, and the last one is common stand on climate change. So those are the 7 possible solutions of energy crisis.
The Philippines and other countries of the world have relied on the same sources of fuels for the past 100 years. We have been so dependent on coal, oil, and natural resources which up to this date will work good. But at the rate we have been using these fuels, the world may run out of these resources. There's a need to research for alternative energy resources which are cleaner, more economically and ecologically friendly, which are beneficial to the whole world. Alternative energy source is any energy source that is alternative to fossil fuel like coal, gasoline, and natural gas. The alternatives are intended to address concerns about fossil fuels such as its high carbon dioxide emission, an important factor in the global warming. We all know that the presence of the carbon in the atmosphere increases the temperature of the world. So, there is a need of alternative energy to lessen the carbons in the atmosphere. The different sources of alternative energy are nuclear power, hydroelectric power, wave energy, wind energy, biomass energy, tidal energy, hydrogen gas, biofuels, natural gas, and geothermal power. The first among them are nuclear power. Nuclear power is the most abundant form of alternative energy. It uses nuclear reaction to release nuclear energy to generate heat, which most frequently is used in steam turbines to produce electricity in a clear power plant. Nuclear power can be obtained from nuclear fission, nuclear decay, and nuclear fusion reactions. It creates a number of direct benefits in terms of emission and efficiency, while also boosting the economy by creating jobs in plant creation and operation. The second is hydroelectric energy. Hydroelectric method actually are some of the earliest means of creating energy. Through their use begin to decline with the use of fossil fuels. Hydroelectric energy carries with it a number of benefits, not only a clean source of energy, which means it does not create a pollution, but it is also a renewable source of energy. It also offers a number of secondary benefits that are not immediately apparent. The darns used in generating hydroelectric power also contributes to the food control and irrigation techniques. Wave energy. Water proves to be a valuable contributor to alternative energy fuel sources with wave energy converters. These hold an advantage over tidal energy sources because they can be placed in the ocean in the various situations and locations. One of its benefits come in the lack of waste product in this kind of energy. It is also more reliable than many other forms of alternative energy and has an enormous potential when used properly. Wind energy. This form of energy generation has become increasingly popular in recent years. It offers much the same benefits than many other alternative fuel sources. It makes use of renewable source and generate no waste. Unfortunately, This form of energy also presents challenges. Wind turbines restrict view and may be dangerous to some forms of wildlife. Biomass energy. This type of alternative energy source is focusing on burning woods. The heat generated can be equivalent to that central heating system. Furthermore, the costs involved tend to be lower and the amount of the carbon released by this kind of fuels falls below the amount released by fossil fuels. Tidal energy. While tidal energy uses power of water to generate energy much like with hydroelectric methods, its application has more in common with turbines in many cases. Hydrogen gas. Unlike the other form of natural gas, hydrogen is a completely clean burning fuel. Once produced, hydrogen gas cells emit only water vapor and warm air when in use. Biofuels. In contrast to biomass energy sources, biofuels makes use of animal and plant life to create energy. In essence, they are fuels that can be obtained from some form of organic matter. They are renewable in cases where plants are used as they can be regrown. And the last is geothermal power. Geothermal power is about extracting energy from ground up. It is generated by geothermal energy. This power source has massive potential while doing little to disrupt the land. However, the upfront cost of creating geothermal power plant has led to slower adoption than may have been expected.
Renewable sources of energy is from natural resources that are not finite and exhaustible. These energy resources are naturally replenished, that's why they never run out. So these are the types of renewable sources of energy. First is solar energy. Solar energy is produced by the sun. It is converted into usable energy such as electricity. Next is wind energy. Wind energy is a renewable energy source that uses wind power to generate electricity. Wind turns the propeller of a turbine around a rotor which spins a generator to create electricity. Next is geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is the heat that comes from the subsurface of the earth. It is contained in the rocks and fluids beneath the earth's crust and can be found as far down in the earth's hot molten rock magma. Next is hydroenergy. Hydroenergy is known as hydropower. It is a very clean and powerful method for generating electricity. It is electrical energy produced through the power of water. A turbine converts the kinetic energy of falling water into mechanical energy. Then the generator converts the mechanical energy into electrical energy. Next is tidal energy. Tidal energy is a renewable energy powered by the natural rise and fall of ocean tides and currents. Tidal power surrounds gravitational hydropower, which uses the movement of water to push a turbine to generate electricity. Next is wave energy. Wave energy is energy harnessed from the ocean or sea waves. The rigorous vertical motion of surface ocean waves contains a lot of kinetic energy that is captured by wave energy technologies to do useful tasks. For example, generation of electricity, desalination of water, and pumping of water into reservoirs. When the wind blows across the sea surface, it transfers the energy to the waves. Next is biomass energy. Biomass energy is defined by any organic materials that can be burned and used as a source of fuel. Wood being the main source of biomass. Biomass can be used to make electricity, which is what's done in a waste to energy plant. Waste can be burned to heat water, which turns into steam. Next is wood energy. Wood energy is quite simply wood used to produce fire, whether for heating, lighting, cooking, or production of electricity. Biomass and wood energy are still renewable energy, but it is not environmentally friendly because burning biomass and wood could contribute a great deal to global warming and particulate pollution. Abundance of alternative renewable energy sources such as wind and the sun, there are really no reason that the Philippines cannot be at the forefront of a renewable energy movement. We have sufficient resources that can be harnessed to produce stable power needed to electrify homes and fuel businesses.
What is climate change? Climate change, it refers to the change in global or regional patterns, or in other hands, it is a significant variation of average weather condition. Says, condition becoming warmer, wetter, or drier. In particular, a change apparent from mid to late 20th century onwards occurring faster than ever. NASA defines climate change as a broad range of global phenomena which created by predominantly burning fossil fuels which add heat trapping gases to the Earth's atmosphere. This phenomena also encompasses changes such as sea level rise, ice mass loss in Greenland and Antarctica, the Arctic and mountain glaciers worldwide, and all extreme weather events.
What are the causes of climate change? Climate change is a phenomenon that happens because of natural and man-made reasons. In natural reasons, these include volcanic eruptions, solar variations, tectonic plate movement, and orbit variations. Due to these activities, the geographical condition of an area become quite harmful for life to survive. Also, these activities raise the temperature of the Earth to a great extent, causing an imbalance in nature. In human reasons, due to humans' need and greed, has done many activities that not only harm environment but human too. These man-made reasons include deforestation, using fossil fuels, industrial waste, different type of pollution, and many more. Most scientists agree that the main cause of current global warming trend is human expansion of the greenhouse effect. Human activity is currently generating an excess of long-lived greenhouse gases. that contribute to the greenhouse effect include water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. The warming that results when the atmosphere traps heat radiating from Earth towards space. What are the effects of climate change? This climate change have a negative impact on the environment. The ocean level is rising, glaciers are melting, carbon dioxide in the air is increasing, forests and wildlife are declining, water life is also getting disturbed due to climate changes, increasing the frequency of coral reef bleaching, warmer, drier weather, and forests becoming less hospitable to animals.
How is climate change affecting the Philippines? The Global Climate Risk Index listed the Philippines as a #1 most affected country by the climate change because of its geography. The Philippines is located in the western Pacific Ocean, surrounded by naturally warm water that will likely even get more warmer as the average sea surface temperature continues to rise. To some extent, this is a normal pattern. The ocean surface warms as it absorbs sunlight. Then the ocean releases some of its heat to the Earth's atmosphere, creating wind and rain clouds. However, as the ocean surface increases over time from the effects of climate change, more and more heat releases into the Earth's atmosphere that leads to the stronger and more frequent storm. In the Philippines, the effects of climate change and global warming cannot be denied, so there used to be a clear delineation between dry and wet months. January to June have always known to be the dry months, and the rest were the wet months. However, the dry and wet days occurs anytime in the year nowadays. Pierre Randa stated 6 ways which climate change affects our country. Number 1 is the more intense El Nino. Number 2 is the sea surface temperature to rise. Three is the ocean acidification. Number 4 is the sea level to rise from 4 to 6 meters. Number 5 is the tropical cyclone.
Environmental awareness refers to be aware of the natural environment and making choices that benefit rather than hurt the earth. It is also being aware of the issue that the earth is currently dealing with. Climate change is a long-term change in the statistical distribution of weather patterns over the period of ranging from decades to million years. Global warming is the slow increase in the average temperature because an increased amount of the energy striking the earth from the sun and being trapped in the atmosphere. Pollution is the addition of any substance, solid, liquid, gas, or any form of energy such as heat or radioactive to the environment at a rate faster and can destroy our environment. Proper garbage disposal are waste that has negative effect to the environment and did not segregate well. Loss of biodiversity is declining of genetic variability and variety of species and the biological communities in an area and lead to breakdown of ecosystem. Deforestation refers to the decrease in the forest areas across the world that are lost for the others such as agricultural croplands, urbanization, or mining activities.
Energy conservation is the effort made to reduce the consumption of energy by using less of an energy service. Can be achieved either by using energy more efficiently, conserving water by checking holes on pipes and turning off the faucet when not in use. In other countries like in Africa, continent water is limited, so don't waste it. Now we have 3 R's: reuse, reduce, and recycle, in order to keep as much as waste or material from going to landfill and water. So now, tree planting, it's help the environment to gain oxygen and water for flood, which reduce erosion.